BUID, the British University in Dubai TESOL Syllabus and Design Module introduces differentiated instruction in the classroom, prepared by Shadi Musa and prepared for Dr. Tendai Charles. From the space. Through our sun, into our planet. Here, the British University in Dubai, with our great Dr. Tendai Charles. And from the most beautiful city all over the world, Dubai, we introduce our new project for the first assignment in TESOL and syllabus module. Our journey is not an easy one. Be ambitious. Don't give up. Do your best. Study hard. One day, you will achieve your goal. We will start together with Mr. Shadi Musa. Let's begin.
Hello everyone. Today we will talk about differentiated instruction in the classroom through our module TESOL Syllabus and Design EDU 512 that prepared by Shadi Musa and prepared for Dr. Tendai Charles. So let's start with our agenda today. As we can see in our agenda today, we have 4 elements. The first one is Introduction to Differentiation. I will tell you what is the differentiation instruction mean, and why do we need a differentiation, and how the students are different. In the second one, I will tell you who is behind this study, and what should the teacher do for the differentiation, and what are the elements of differentiated instruction. The third one is talking about how to make differentiation, the basics of differentiated instruction, and the history of the differentiated instruction too. The last one is the role of the teacher. I will explain the balancing act. Let's start with the first slide of our presentation today. After we checked our agenda today, we can start with the first slide of our presentation. What is differentiation mean? Between 1992 to 1996, GEL gave us a definition. To differentiate instruction is to recognize students' varying background knowledge, readiness language, preferences in learning, interests, and to react responsibly. But Tomlinson in 2001, she said that is a way of teaching that is strategized and implemented to reach the diverse needs of all students on a more individualized basis than instruction of the past. In 2003 and 2005, according to them, they really explored different ways to cater for students' diverse needs in learning, and they recognized and supported individuality while creating learning opportunities for all. Now, why do we need differentiation? We have 7 elements for needing differentiation. First one, ensures equal access to learning content. Number 2 is to relieve conflicts in the learning environment. Number 3 is fosters independent, lifelong learner, as well as fosters strong connections between teacher, learning, and content. Number 5 is to build on student skills, strength, and interests. And number 6 increases motivation and participation. The last one is boosts self-confidence and feeling of self-worth. Sure, you can find many different students in your class. You can find them are different in prior age, or their personality, or their culture background, maybe preferences, or readiness, maybe gender, or their interests. Who's behind this study? Carol Ann Tomlinson, a leader in differentiated instruction. 21 years as a classroom teacher, 12 years as a program administrator, author of over 200 published works, and currently a professor and chair of educational leadership. What the teachers should do or use for their differentiated instruction. Maybe they can use assessment, observation, or conversation in understanding students' starting points to better proactively plan instruction that is right for an individual. Or maybe they can collaborate with students so that both teacher and students can determine challenge levels that are appropriate. Maybe also they can blend their differentiated instruction into whole group or small group or one-on-one learning environments. The last thing that can use, maybe they can use assessment routinely, as students' abilities can change rates throughout a unit of study. What are the elements validated of differentiated instruction include? Maybe they can use effective classroom management or teaching to the zone of proximal development, promoting student engagement and motivation, responding to learner styles, grouping students for instruction, or assessing student readiness. This is regarding to Huebner 2010. And now, how to make differentiation. We have a chart here that can help us to understand and recognize how can we make differentiation. From the starting point, from pre-assessment, curriculum and students, to the content and process, and go through the product, and finally you can make your summative evaluation. So now we will talk about the basics of differentiated instruction. We have 4 steps to make differentiation. First one, content. The second one is process. The third one is product. And the last one is learning environment. Now let's start with the first element. We have many examples of differentiating content. For example, putting text materials on tape, or presenting ideas through both auditory and visual means. Also, using reading bodies. Maybe you can say using reading materials at varying readability levels. Going to the second one, we have process. We have many examples of differentiating process. For example, using tiered activities, or providing interest centers, developing personal agendas, or offering manipulative or other hands-on supports. And the last one, maybe varying the length of time. With the third element, product. We have many examples of differentiating products. like giving students options of how to express required learning. Also using rubrics that match and extend students' varied skills levels. Also allowing students to work alone or in small groups on their products. The last one, encouraging students to create their own products. Assignments, as long as the assignments contain required elements. Now, for the last element, learning environment. We have many examples of differentiating learning environment. For example, making sure there are places in the room to work quietly and without distraction. Also, providing materials that reflect a variety of cultures and home settings. Also, we have setting out clear guidelines for independent work that matches individual needs. The last example, developing routines that allow students to get help when teachers are busy and cannot help them immediately. Now we can come to speak about range of students. We have 5 different ranges of students. Speakers of non-standard English, English learners, gifted students, students with identified special needs, and struggling readers. What differentiation is not? Class-centered, we consider it is not differentiation. Mainly for students with learning problems, a tracking system by abilities, a recipe for learning. In 2010, Hope, as cited by Tomlinson and Parrish in 2013, said that differentiation is a sequence of common sense decisions made by teachers with a student first orientation. If we come to talk about assessment in differentiation, we can say that begin by understanding where students are in terms of readiness. And also, we have to be sure to give students authentic assessment. And also assessment is jumping off point, but it should remain ongoing as students' levels can change and vary over time. Also, the most important point is assessment should be used in conjunction with anything. Last point is assessments can be informal or formal and include both formative and summative types. Tomlinson 2001 informed us about Teach Up that don't dilute goals for struggling learners. Assess them in reaching grade level goals. Also focus on students gaining key ideas. Use several avenues for students to understand a concept with varied activities. Teach them to prior knowledge and teach to relevance. Balance rigor and joy. Continually raise the ceiling of expectations. Coming with flexible grouping, assessment allows educators to produce small groups based on needs that are more practical for an educator to instruct to rather than 30 individual lesson plans. We have advanced learners, we have grade level learners, and we have struggle learners. Meanwhile, depending on academic situation, educators can still offer varied learning experiences. For example, whole group, small group, individual. Now the most important slide in our presentation today is the role of the teacher. The role of the teacher is to assist in learning, not dominate it. Give students the tools they need to succeed with encouragement, advice plan, and a backup plan. Also, the teacher must be facilitator, coach, and mentor. What is the balancing act? The balancing act is that students exert reasonable effort academically. Students work on learning goals. Students are treated fairly in receiving instruction that is right for them. Students attain success after reasonable effort. Teachers assist students in achieving learning goals. Students act reasonably in all learning environments. That's in Tomlinson 2001. Finally, I would thank you for your listening. Thank you and goodbye.